Good morning, Karen. Yes, I'll say that at the end. Alright, this is Bad Wii Games. Let me load my notes. You know, I'm not feeling this song. There we go. Alrighty. First game on the list. Wii Music. If I can find it. Ah, here it is. So naturally, anything else music related in here? I guess you could do the Valkyrie doll for the singing part of it. Why not? So, what's to say about Wii Music? It's basically an overly simplistic little conducting game, but it's really just a few mini games released as a full game, and it's not really a game at all. And that's really all there is to say about it. I couldn't find anything really in-depth as far as reviews because there's just that little to it. Really? Why does it take so long to order a cello? Oh no! Okay, got ourselves a combo. Alright, next game. I couldn't find a cover for this game. It was called Fireplacing or My Fireplace. So, I couldn't find a cover for it. So we're just gonna burn the Wii logo. And, this game was WiiWare. Okay, it cost 500 Wii points. Oh, that's not very legible, but that's okay. And let's talk about it. It's not really a game at all. It's actually even less of a game than Wii Music is. It's basically just a screensaver for your Wii screen. But there's not even that much interactivity. Like, you put logs on, but you can't put more logs on until the game lets you. And things like that. And it doesn't even do a good job at being like a simulated fireplace. It's really just a screensaver. A big waste of money. Hey, what's going on, Samuel? I am doing spectacularly, thank you. Now we are burning bad Wii games. You're getting here mostly at the beginning. The first two were barely games at all. Wii Music, which we mentioned. And then there was this My Fireplace from the Wii store. It was WiiWare. Excuse me. And a couple years later, another game would come along that was a much better fireplace simulator. I.e. Little Inferno. Next game on the list. Jenga World Tour. Gotta get the bank again. And here, you'll know why. So basically, Jenga World Tour for the Wii cost $30 when it was released. That's more expensive than a real Jenga game that you could go out and buy at a retail store. Maybe, maybe not. Some of these games, some of these games tend to be games that weren't released in America. But we've all heard of Jenga. But I didn't know they made Jenga into a Wii game. There we go. That's about as much Jenga as I can make it look, but here's the problem. So I said it was already more expensive than an actual physical Jenga game that you could buy and play in real life. It has very imprecise controls, so you could be trying to move a piece out with the controls but not get the move that you want. Very unbalanced AI. Apparently, the game is either, at any given moment, it's the stupidest player on the planet or the biggest expert on the planet, which makes no sense. And then pieces would occasionally just get stuck for no apparent reason. So, every reviewer's opinion was essentially the same. Stick with regular Jenga. Look at those flames. Goodbye, Jenga. You shan't be missed. Next game. This was called Game Party. You heard me right. Game Party. The most original, cutting-edge, eye-catching title possible for a game. So let's see. Game Party is essentially a bunch of simulated like bar games, you know, air hockey, darts, I think foosball, you know, that kind of stuff. You don't seem to have that much. I'll do a sports ball just for the competitive aspect of it. Sounds like the name was made by 5-year-olds. Yeah, it really does. It really does. And yeah, sunglasses. Sure. Even the cover art's just really boring looking. So, what's to say about Game Party? Well, not much. It basically wanted to be like Wii Sports, but it failed in every aspect. Several of the games suffer from very poor control. Oh, come on. Let's try that again, shall we? Stop burning up before I get a chance to do my spiel. Anyway. Yeah. Imprecise controls with the games. And, most of the games just are, like, animated poorly. And the graphics are just not impressive. Like, whoever made it was like, it was like the bare minimum in terms of graphics. One particular complaint said that the air hockey was oriented horizontally instead of like vertically like you would expect. So instead of defending your goal going left and right like you would at a normal air hockey table, it was like Pong style where you'd move up and down to guard your goal, which is kind of understandable if you're playing it co-op, but I don't know. A lot of people found it disorienting. Where's my snakes? There we go. See, the needles were supposed to be like the darts. Doop. That's okay. It's been burned twice now. And like I said, some of these games just don't have that many notes because they're just barely games. They barely qualify as games at all. Next on the list, Chicken Shoot. And this is another one where I'm... Brotazak, what's going on? Getting ready for work, huh? That's what's up. Gonna lurk while you work? Much appreciated. Let's see. Oh yeah, because we have that. Where's that, Perfect. Phantasy Star 4, so good. Phantasy Star 2, not good. That's basically it. Now, realistically, like, Phantasy Star 2 has good aspects about it. I mean, the story is great. And, like, the gameplay mechanics are fine. The gameplay itself, just a little bit too punishing. They didn't balance the monsters very well. And those dungeons, man. You didn't even get to the dungeons. Which, I don't blame you. The dungeons. Oh. Alright. Let's talk about Chicken Shoot. Yeah, level 1, you die for no reason. So this game has remarkably cheesy, cartoony graphics. Now, games that have cartoony graphics are fine if they're done properly. This game is not. There's multiple game modes, but they're all basically the same. The only difference is like how you advance. Some is like, one of them is like shoot a certain number of chickens. Another one is get a certain number of points. And then, you know, differences like that. There's basically no real gameplay differences. It's just, what are you shooting for? Why does Pretzel keep recommending streams? Oh, well, they're... Basically, to use the Pretzel Rocks free music, you have to let the bot, do the track shoutouts. You know, basically, like, it's attribution. So, it's basically like the playlist. It's announcing each new song. So, let's see. Okay, yeah, and then, even in the gameplay itself, it's extremely one-dimensional. You move your reticle around the screen with the Wiimote and just shoot chickens. That's it. No depth at all, and the game itself is extremely short. Another one of these games that was sold as a full game that's not a game, really, hardly at all. So let's shoot some of our own chickens. Hey. Burn. Burn to crisp. I like my chicken extra well done. Not really, but I'll make an exception for Chicken Shoot. Next game. Okay. Keep up with me on this one. Major Minor's Majestic March. This is another musical game. Woo-hoo-hoo. So let's bust back out the musical stuff. Another cello. Gotta get the old lady, and I'll explain why in a second. And there we go. So in this game, the main character has this magic baton that the soul of his great-great-great-grandmother is in. And so the whole game, basically, you're directing this marching band using rhythmic motions with the Wiimote and crap. But there's great-great-great-grandma. So the game is not that challenging at all. You can get through the levels, like, even if you make a lot of mistakes. Like, the worst that can happen is you might have to restart the level. But you don't really lose anything. And, very, very short game. Very little challenge. Exceptionally garbage graphics. The controls themselves are very touch and go. Like, sometimes the game, just for whatever reason, just won't pick up your motions with the Wiimote, which I know happens sometimes in games, but apparently it's really egregious in this one. And occasionally there's just random tempo drops and you have no idea why. So it can be a real problem of trying to get the band back on track after a random tempo drop. Yeah, and oh, and apparently, if one annoying thing that you might have to deal with is your great-great-great-grandmother like barking at you if you're doing things incorrectly, and it comes through the Wiimote, so because it's supposed to be your magic baton. So if you're messing up, she'll bark at you like, "Are you sure you're doing it correctly?" That won't get old. Oh boy. Alright. Next game on the list. Sid the Dummy. Where's my little... There we go. Let's get out the bus. Since it's supposed to be one of the crash test dummies. We all remember the incredible crash test dummies. You know, remember from the 90s? Always telling you to wear your seatbelt? You could learn a lot from a dummy. So let's talk about the game. Broken controls. Gotta have that in any game. Here, this just represents the dummy. It's about as much of a dummy as we can make. Terrible graphics, uninspired gameplay, and terrible voice acting. Basically every Lucky Charm that you could think of in a bad game. Let's put it on this side. There we are. Time to lurk. Alright, bro to Zach, you have fun at work. I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Alright, let's remarkable. What did we learn from this dummy? Well, as far as I'm aware, there are no good Incredible Crash Test Dummy games. If anybody knows of one, next game. Where are we at? Alright. Survivor. Ugh! So let's see. Let's get the Tiki. Since they're always like island themed with tribal council, we'll get the Tiki torch. Let's see. Survivor. Sure. Howling Coyote to represent the wilds. And then we need some sort of, weird food. Yeah, here we go. Zesty beetles. They're always making the people on Survivor eat weird stuff. Oh. Anyway, so this Survivor game was terrible. The dialogue choices were very inconsistent. Like, you would talk to one of the other survivors about another survivor, and at first they'd have something good to say, but then, like, you might come to them with a different set of concerns, and then, like, their response would not be consistent with, like, what they said the first time. Like, you might talk trash about them, they'll talk trash too, but if you come up to them talking about, like, oh no, we have to help them, they'll be like, oh yeah, we have to help them, you know, or something, you know. Inconsistencies like that. And let's see, there's these boring simulation segments where all you do is sit around for 3 minutes and watch your character that you, make just walk around the island and just do stuff. So, yeah, that won't get boring. You may as well get up and go to the bathroom and get a drink during those segments. The choppy animation, you gotta have that in a game. All the games, like there's mini games that simulate all the challenges in Survivor, and they're basically like click to win. Click, 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 and just holding the Wiimote. Click, 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 click. Yeah, that's fun. Everybody wants to do that. And the graphics are just unattractive. So let's vote Survivor off the island. Now, I don't know the company that made that game, but, like, Survivor seems like it would be a great idea for a video game, but they need to give it to a proper company to make. And next, Iron Chef America. Hoo-da-ha. So, let's see. Let's just find all the food that we can find. That was redundant, Steven. All the food that... Find all the food that we can find. Durr. Looks like most all the edibles are in the earlier, sections. Here, let's have some sushi, some shrooms, and why not marshmallows. Today's mystery ingredient is marshmallow. Here's our mystery seasoning. I want to invent marshmallow. Doesn't that sound appetizing? Basically, mushroom. Marshmallow flavored wine. Marshmallow. There we are. Hey, you knocked down my food tower. Oh, no matter. So, let's talk about this game and why it's so wonderful. The gameplay is just boring. Apparently, the only real bright spot in the game is where this animated head of Alton Brown constantly comes up and talks about, like, food facts. And the food facts themselves are actually pretty legit. that's really it. Like, all the games are just... There's no sense of urgency. And you just do all these mini games where you, like, simulate cutting stuff and putting stuff into a pot and prepping food, you know? And it's supposed to... You know, you're supposed to be, like, competing. You start with competing against one-star chefs, then you work your way up to fight, you know, to going up against, you know, the Iron Chefs. But, it doesn't capture any of, like, the intensity or any of the excitement that comes with the actual show. The characters are rendered poorly. There's very little reward compared to the effort. And no real challenge. Like, most of all the like, they're just these mini games. It's like composed of mini games where, like I said, you're prepping food and stuff, and plating. Plating, apparently, like, you know, for presentation is one of the aspects. But all you do is you grab, like, you use your Wiimote to grab something, and then it snaps to its position on the plate. Like, there's no style involved. But despite this fact, you're scored for, like, originality. So, maybe it was something that, an aspect of the game they intended to implement originally, but maybe it got rushed and they decided, okay, just, make it so that all the different aspects of the meal snap to the place they go on the plate. That's probably what happened. It was a feature that was going to be in the game, then it got rushed out, and it was cut. That's my assumption. So, and, I mean, I don't really know how you would make a good Iron Chef game. I feel like, I don't know, it would have to be almost like a kitchen manager kind of game, like a simulation instead of something with mini games, but I don't know. If anybody has any ideas on that, I'd love to hear them. So... Ugh. Oops. Now, I wonder if Alton Brown himself is considered an Iron Chef or if he's just the host. Alright, so... the number one spot is actually 4 games that are actually one game. Whew. So let's talk about Ninja Bread Man. Has anyone played Ninja Bread Man? Or maybe you've played Trixie in Toyland. How about Anubis 2? Or maybe Rock and Roll Adventures? Well, watch, I did that. And we put the... It's okay. It's okay, Samuel. You have a good day. I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, sweet. Exterminator's on the correct side. So let's talk about these games. They're essentially all of these games are the same game. And the name of the company escapes me at the moment. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, there we go. Conspiracy Entertainment. That's right. It was Data Design Interactive, but then Conspiracy Entertainment. And here's the thing about Conspiracy Entertainment. Basically, they've mastered the art of shovelware. All 4 of these games are basically the same game, just reskinned with different themes. But there's almost no differences in the gameplay mechanics, the layout, the graphic style, anything else. They just cut and pasted like assets and then tweaked the look of things, and you know, eventually it got to the point where you couldn't find some of these games in stores because retailers started catching on to Conspiracy's wily ways. So some of these games are actually pretty rare now if you can find them in the box. So let's talk about why they suck. You know, the whole cut and paste shovelware aspect might have been forgivable if the games were actually good, but they're not. Lots of bad camera work, always. Tons of bugs in the game, as we can see here. Very trash jumping controls. And the jumping controls is probably the biggest complaint out of all the notes that I looked over. Bad music, or in some cases, barely any music at all. No real kind of plot. Very thin on plot. And in the case of Trixie and Toyland, they put too much control on the nunchuck. You're supposed to hold the nunchuck and move with the analog stick, but then there's also an aspect where you're supposed to shake the analog stick too to perform actions. So it can get a little annoying when you have to shake the analog stick and move at the same time. It's like, So, I don't know why you would ever program a game that way. And not to mention, a lot of these games just have ugly graphics. Just plain old stank graphics. So, let's say goodbye to these 4 games and hope that we never hear from Conspiracy Entertainment ever again. Oh boy. Yeah, I genuinely feel bad for anybody that actually bought one of those games for full price, took it home expecting, you know, because they said Ninja Bread Man was a game that got a lot of attention based on the box art alone. Because that sounds like a cool concept. Oh, dude, it's a gingerbread man who's a ninja. Yeah! And you're fighting through, like, candy-themed levels and this and that. But, cool concept, but it didn't pan out. So that's bad Wii games done and dusted. Next up, since we finished the 7th generation consoles, we're going to back up a bit. And next we're going to do some handhelds. So the next up is going to be Thursday, I think. And it's going to be bad Game Boy games for the original Game Boy. So hopefully none of the games I like are on the list. I doubt it, though. So thank you all for tuning in for this Bad Game Barbecue. I appreciate you all hanging out. And I'll be, as usual, on Little Inferno days, I'll be taking a small break, get a little something to eat, and prepare for the next stream. We'll be coming back with some more Monster Sanctuary, so you won't want to miss that. So it just remains for me to say thank you all for turning out for this latest edition of Burning Bad Games. You all stay safe out there. I'll see you in a little while. And for those of you